Okay, so before we get started with this mouse, I just want to say that I bought this mouse. Nobody's influencing anything I have to say in here. My goal is to bring the most honest opinion I can and my truest experience with this mouse. So, took me a while, but here's the review. Let's get on with it. What's going on, guys? My name is Chad, and today we are taking a look at the Xtrfy MZ1, aka Zeiss Rail. Now, the designer of this is Rocketjumpninja. If you don't know who that is, he's a huge mouse reviewer on YouTube, and he's a big long-term Quake player, and so am I. So for that reason, we're only going to be showing Quake clips in this video. So let's get right in with the review. First thing, this mouse is coming in at $79, which is kind of on the high end for a wired mouse, but this mouse is a very unique and special shape, and we're going to get into way more detail here in a minute on that. It's only available in the color black, and the dimensions on this guy are 111 millimeters long, 52.5 millimeters wide at the grip, and 36.5 millimeters tall at the back of the mouse. Inside the box, along with the mouse, you're going to get an extra pair of PTFE feet, and they do include an extra ring for the sensor here if you want to install that. Also, there is a quick start guide, which is like a little cheat sheet for setting your mouse up, so you want to make sure you hang on to that one. Also, there is an Xtrfy sticker here, and then finally a letter from the designer Zeiss himself, thanking you for the purchase and talking a little bit about the making of this mouse. So all really nice stuff here. Everything here is recyclable too, so you can just throw it in your recycling bin when you're done. Really nice touches here, really good job on the unboxing experience, Xtrfy. So let's talk about the shape here because it's very unique, and I don't think there's anything else out there that's shaped like this mouse is. And that's because Zeiss used clay to mold it to his hand perfectly. So it literally is like the perfect size, the perfect shape, and the perfect fit for Zeiss' hand. Now, that might mean that it doesn't work for you, but if you have similar size hands to Zeiss and you use a fingertip grip, then this could be like the absolute best possible shape for you, depending on your hand size, of course. And that's probably going to be pretty rare in most cases, but it does have that potential to be like the most insane mouse you've ever used, I think. It's basically got a pretty tall hump in the back, and then it drops down slowly, sloping towards the front. The left side kind of curves in around where your thumb sits, and then the right side is very slanted out. And also on the buttons, the comfort grooves are super deep and super aggressive, I guess you would say, and it really holds your fingers in place. You can transition into a claw grip easier than almost any mouse I've ever felt before, because a lot of mice have that curved shape on the buttons. It kind of gives you more resistance like in your way while you're scooting your fingers up into a claw. If you're in a full fingertip grip and then you transition into a claw, your finger has perfect contact on this mouse the entire time, so you don't lose any control of the mouse. You don't feel shaky or wobbly. Most mice, when you transition from fingertip to a claw, you're not gonna have a really strong point of contact. Like, yeah, you're still holding the mouse, you still have control of the mouse, but not to the same degree as something that's lower and flatter like this. So to kind of demonstrate the front end control you get on this mouse, if I lay my fingers on top of this mouse and don't really put any pressure on it, I can still move it around and control the mouse somewhat. Now, I would never be able to aim like this, of course, but the fact that I can control the mouse without it just sliding out from under my hand is pretty incredible, and that gives you an idea of how important the rails are on the side here and the deep comfort grooves. It really just gives you so much front end control, and the best way that I can really describe this sensation is it's like a racing seat for your hand. You know, if you get in a sports car and you got those deep bucket seats and it kind of holds you in place, that's basically what this mouse is doing to your hand. It's giving you like the tightest, most like controlled feeling I've ever felt on a mouse versus like being a loose, smooth surface that you just grip and then it kind of like, whether your grip works or not, you know, whatever. This one's like, hey, this is how we're gonna grip it. You're gonna sit here and you're not going anywhere. And that's exactly what it's like using this mouse. And it gives you a really high level of control because of that. As far as grip styles go on this mouse, I would say palm grip is a no-go in my opinion. Claw grip is very good. If you use like a hybrid grip, those work really well too here. And then fingertip grip is just straight up ridiculous. So really that's gonna be the biggest recommendation for me is if you're a fingertip grip user and you have anywhere near Zai's hand size, I would definitely recommend checking this mouse out because it really could be an incredible fit for you. The coating here is a nice smooth plastic texture, and it's like everything on this mouse is just purely designed around performance, not looks or being fancy. It's just all about function. So the mouse does have holes cut out in the shape to keep the weight down. When you use it, if you grip it like Xi, it's possible to have just contact with the solid surfaces only. So if you don't like the feeling of using a mouse that has a honeycomb design, it can feel okay here as long as you grip it the same way Xi does. This mouse is rated for 56 grams and I get 60 on my scale. And as far as build quality goes, I do have a little bit of creaking on my mouse. There's no flexing or anything like that, but it just kind of can make little noises every now and then. But it doesn't feel like I'm gonna like break the mouse or anything like that. I can squeeze the mouse really hard and it doesn't budge. But for whatever reason, there is some creaking. Let me see if you can hear it. It's really minimal, not a big deal. I wouldn't even be worried about it. I'm just letting you know that it's there. Buttons 1 and 2 on my copy feel very, very good. They have minimal button wobble, which I think is key with the design of this mouse. If this mouse had a lot of button wobble, it would be something that is very noticeable in game. Just because the way it puts your fingers there and locks them into place, I think you would kind of feel the little bit of shifting when you would swipe. Luckily, that's not a problem, at least on my copy. It feels great. So all good there. I have a little bit of post-travel on mouse 1, but mouse 2 is like literally perfect. There's no pre-travel on either. It's pretty damn impressive. They're so clicky, they're so responsive. I love the way these buttons feel. And this mouse is using the KLGM 8.0 switches, which are absolutely incredible. So I don't even know how you could get the switches much better, honestly. Like, these are probably some of the best clicks I've ever felt. And honestly, I would just say they're the best clicks I've ever felt, period. They're incredible. I really like the placement of the side buttons on this mouse. I can easily just roll my thumb up and hit the back button or the front button, super easy, probably in a better place than most mice I've used. Also, unfortunately, the front button on my copy is a little bit mushy. The back button is great, no issues there. But if I was a Fortnite player, that would probably bother me, just a heads up. But if you play anything else, it's not gonna be a problem and I wouldn't be too worried about it. So there's a button here on top that looks like the DPI button, but it's not. This is actually the button that you use to set up your mouse with different configurations and different combos of buttons you're gonna press, but basically that's the main button that you control all the settings with. I love this scroll wheel here. My only complaint is it's too hard to press down, but I've never felt a scroll wheel that can scroll so smoothly, but yet when you go slow, it's really tactile and you can feel each step individually very easily. So if I'm in like Counter-Strike and I'm weapon swapping with the mouse wheel, it's super easy to do and it feels really nice and responsive. But then if I'm browsing the web and I'm like doing big scrolls, it's super smooth, it's quiet, has a really nice texture on it, it's very comfortable, and it looks nice too with the RGB on there. So I love the scroll wheel. I just wish it was a little bit easier to press, because like in Apex, I use scroll wheel to spam my markers and stuff, and it's really kind of hard to do on this mouse, unfortunately. Other than that, it's incredible. I love the scroll wheel. Okay, so flipping the mouse over, we've got 100% PTFE feet here. These things are thick, they're rounded, really nice glide, pretty much incredible stock feet, probably the best stock feet I've used in ever. They're really good, seriously. And then we've got the DPI button here, and you can change your DPI, just press that down and cycle through all the different levels. The sensor here is a 3389 and it's pretty much perfect, nothing to worry about at all. So I'm not even gonna go into the specs on this sensor because it's just so damn good. It's literally like the best one out. I'm really glad they put an awesome sensor in here. And it's not surprising considering all the reviews that Xi has done. I think part of the reason why sensors are so good today is because of all that work that he did testing out sensors and calling out companies BS. So good job on that. I mean, I gotta give credit where it's due, right? So down at the bottom of the mouse, there's a pretty cool feature here that's really unique and I really like it. It's a switch that lets you control all of the settings on your mouse, whether it's RGB, pulling rate, liftoff distance, and then on the right side of the switch, there's a spot that says F11. And what the F11 button does is the top of the mouse, instead of being a DPI button, it's the button that you control all the settings on your mouse with, which is really cool. And in game, you can bind that to F11 or page down now with the firmware update that just came out recently. And that's a really cool feature. I think it's awesome. And if you're not in game and you have it set to page down, you can just go through like web browsers really easy. Just press that button instead of sitting there scrolling. So really cool stuff. I really like this concept. I kind of wish more people did it. I don't think it's very much weight as far as I can tell, and it's just really nice. No software needed, cool stuff. So luckily the cable here is much improved over all their previous mice, and thank God, because I had the M42 and I was gonna do a review on it, but I was strapped for time and I wasn't able to get that review out, and I ended up just returning the mouse because I hated the cable on that thing so much. It was atrocious, it was terrible. I would never use that mouse without a paracord. It was so bad. Luckily, the cable here is actually really good. I hope they start putting this cable on all of their other mice because it's way better. And also on the front of the mouse here, the cable does extend up, so it's not gonna be dragging on your mouse pad or anything like that. I just threw this thing in my Razer V2 bungee and good to go. I never thought about the cable, it never got in the way. I didn't feel it. There's no need to replace it on this mouse. It's great. Good job, Xtrfy. So this mouse does have RGB on it, and most of the settings don't really look that great to me. They're kind of but I did find one that looks pretty sweet actually, and it's the blue and purple gradient, where it just slowly changes from blue to purple, and it actually looks really nice. That's my favorite one and only one I would actually use on this mouse. But to be honest, if I was gonna design this mouse, I would take out the RGB and I would just go for the lighter weight. So as far as gameplay goes, using this mouse, it's a very, very unique experience. It's not like most mice you're gonna find today. The way the grooves hold your hand in place, it's like that racing seat feel, and the glide on this mouse is great. The cable, tracking and micro adjustments are super smooth and super easy. The mouse is so responsive. Like if you're mid swipe and you change directions, it's so easy with this mouse because of the control and because of the glide. It's effortless. You know, vertical shots are easy too because the way you can transition from a fingertip grip to a claw like really lets me pull this mouse in easily. And then with the design, the hump in the back of the mouse, the way it just fits inside your palm, it's all these things just line up for good support and good aim, and it's really, really great. Like if you think this mouse will fit your hand, I would recommend picking it up and trying it if you use fingertip grip because it really is incredible. This mouse just has a huge range of motion and it feels very good. You can really move it around with your hand like in different grips, and it's just so versatile, but it feels so stable all the time because of the shape and the design. And obviously Zai is all about the shape. Shape is king according to him, and I agree. Shape is the #1 factor you should be considering when you're buying a mouse, especially when sensors are so good nowadays and cables are getting better, scrolls, buttons, all this stuff. It's all getting really good. It's just the shape is the biggest determining factor, and then the size of that mouse too. So this thing's incredible in game, and if you can fit this mouse with your hand, I would definitely recommend it for fingertip grip, like very, very highly. It's gonna be incredible for that. So overall, I think Zai did a great job designing his first mouse, and Xtrfy did a great job executing it. I'm excited to see what they can do together in the future, and I really feel like Xtrfy is just on their way up as a company right now. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave me a comment down below, and I will try to get to it as soon as possible and help you out with whatever I can. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.